Lennox Lewis was supreme, absolutely supreme.
The heavyweight king. But what of the young pretenders who eye Lennox Lewis' throne? The men to watch out for are led by Chris Bird. There's Kirk Johnson and Jamil McLean. But maybe the name most to worry about is Klitschko. Vitaly was first to burst onto the world scene. Now big brother Wladimir has overtaken him, and he's setting his sights as high as possible.
For sure, I hope the fight will be coming between Klitschko and Lewis.
First he has to look the part against Ray Mercer, a man who once pushed Lewis all the way. To this day, Mercer feels he should have got the decision.
Lewis and Mercer will feel hard done by.
These two have been threatening to do each other damage. They had to wait a while to get it on, and the loser knows that no one will want to talk to him. But a win for Wladimir Klitschko here, and he knows that the talking could soon be starting about a meeting with Lennox Lewis. And for worldwide boxing, the enticing prospect of a heavyweight champion to broaden the sport's profile. Klitschko is a man who breaks all stereotypes. Johnny Nelson, a man who's seen plenty of action at heavyweight himself around the world, is alongside Jim Watt for this one. Later, the chance to see the extraordinary action on Saturday Fight Night. Two explosive punchers. Richard Williams against Paul Samuels. It promised to be spectacular. We weren't disappointed, but no one could have foreseen the outcome. It's really worth watching a little bit later on. But straight to the top of the bill in Atlantic City. Wladimir Klitschko, the perfect package. Well-educated, a fine role model, and a potential major star for the future. All he has to do is win against the veteran Ray Mercer and look good doing it. Commentators at the Trump Taj Mahal Casino, Atlantic City, Nicky Piper and Ian Dark.
Atlantic City's making a bit of a boxing comeback these days, and here is merciless Ray Mercer, as they've called him, but at 41, how merciless is he anymore? That's the question, as Mercer, who at his best was tough, talented and strong and had some good wins on his record, tries to regain the WBO heavyweight title he first won 11 years ago against Francesco Damiani.
Well, he looks very fit. I know he's weighed in very well for this fight, Ian, and I'm sure he's going to give a good account of himself tonight. Whether he's got the tools to beat this young champion is another matter. We'll soon see.
Good weight, his lightest for 7 years. Now here's Vitaly, I should say Wladimir Klitschko. It's easy to get the two brothers mixed up. They even look the same. It's nice to see a heavyweight, Nicky, whose age begins with a 2.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this could be the first of the new breed. The champions at the top of the game at the moment. Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Holyfield. They're all well into their 30s now, and it's nice to see some youngsters coming through. And there's a good batch, not being talked about much, but this man is making big headlines.
Needs to make a good impression here, though. They're trying to sell him in America, raise his profile. Well, can he match it with a performance here?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening, 12 rounds for the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the world. Your referee for this event is Randy Newman. Introducing first, in the blue corner to my right, wearing the black trunks with the gold trim, he weighs in at 228 pounds. His professional record reads 30 victories, 4 defeats, 1 draw, and 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Pleasantville, New Jersey. Introducing the challenger, merciless Ray Mercer. His opponent in the red corner, wearing the red trunks, weighing 243 pounds, professional record, 38 victories, 1 defeat, 35 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Kiev in the Ukraine, ranked #1 by the prestigious Bible of Boxing Ring Magazine. Here is the WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Wladimir Steelhammer Klitschko. 12 rounds
38
for
wins
the
and just one
WBO
defeat against Ross
heavyweight
Purity back in
championship
1998.
of the world.
And he ran out of gas on that night and says he learned a lot. Now Mercer, of course, gave Lennox Lewis one of the hardest fights of his career. A lot of people in America thought he beat Lennox Lewis. He beat him on the jab as well that night, but how much has he got left? That's the key question here.
Review of the rules, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Can't be saved by any bell. I want you to do 2 things for me. I want you to obey my commands, but I want you to defend yourselves at all times. You ready for a good, clean fight? Shake hands, come out of the bell.
There are the unified rules. So there is no 3 knockdown rule. That's the main point there. No fighter can be saved by the bell in any round. Otherwise, pretty standard stuff. WBO heavyweight championship held by Wladimir Klitschko here, who's just 26, 15 years younger than the man in front of him, Ray Mercer. But I do like Mercer's weight for this fight, 16 stone 4. He hasn't been this light since he fought Evander Holyfield 7 years ago. Holyfield, by the way, is the only man to ever put Mercer on the floor.
Yeah, he was shaking up his last fight of last year against Brian Scott, a relatively unknown and unrated heavyweight in the first round. Came back well to stop him in 2. But as you say, Mercer, generally known as having a very, very good chin. Bit of a plodder, and whether he can get past that big long jab of Klitschko will be the question tonight.
Blocking a lot with the gloves, but 1 or 2 getting through from Wladimir Klitschko, of course, is widely reported as the heir apparent to Lennox Lewis's throne.
They're hurtful shots here, and there's a jab and a left hook. I mean, they're very, very powerful. Such a massive man. And I get the sense that the American crowd didn't like the look of this Russian coming over. I mean, you see the old likeness with the Rocky films, and I still feel they feel that. That's a good jab. Yeah.
Well, he's had the Ivan Drago comparisons, but the difference is that he was a fictitious character and Klitschko's for real. And he'll want to put on a show here, and he's getting through with some big shots already. Not much from Mercer, of course, is heavily outreached here. He's 6 inches smaller than this 6'7.5" man mountain in front of him from the Ukraine.
Klitschko is so well schooled. He's an intelligent man and an intelligent fighter, and I can't see Ray Mercer, if he carries on taking these shots, going past a couple of rounds. This is really impressive stuff from the Ukraine.
That's a big call, Nicky, because Mercer usually does go long distances. He hasn't fought anybody for a while. Takes another right hand. He's won 1 big fight, Mercer, in recent years. That was against the bottle, and another one too against hepatitis. A lot of inactivity. He's only had 7 wins in the last 5 years. There's a kind of Tyson-like scenario to that sort of build-up.
He's got to land one and put Klitschko off, because these shots are really powerful shots. And that left hook, there's no way, surely he can't not swell up or cut. There's got something going to happen. These are shots from a big, big man.
It's the last chance, really, for Mercer. And can he get his jab going? He did that very well against Lennox Lewis, but of course that was 6 years ago, and this is now. Oh, and he's hurt by the left hand and floored in the very first round.
And he's laying out here, and he's not going to get up. Doesn't want to get up.
He's up with a count at about 6. I thought he was going to stay down, just as you said, Nicky. Says he's all right, I think. But Klitschko could have him in 1 here, but he'll have to be quick about it, because there's the countdown. Last few seconds of the round. All Wladimir Klitschko, nothing from Mercer, who looks an old man in there at the moment, or is being made to look like one anyway.
Well, that is tremendous work from Wladimir Klitschko. They were so accurate, those punches, and so powerful. And, you know, when Mercer went down, he suddenly straightened his body, and I thought that he's out for the night.
Only the 2nd time he's been down in his whole career, Ray Mercer.
Drop down, jab up, and stand up.
Is it there anymore? That's the problem, isn't it?
How you feel, buddy?
How does he feel? How do you think he feels?
Very, very dazed and dizzy at the moment. But I tell you what, Klitschko.
Who, by the way, has Tommy Brooks on the team, Mike Tyson's old trainer.
These are tremendous quality combinations. This is really impressive work. And I know Mercer's 41 and on the downside of his career, but those shots would have put any heavyweight over.
Yeah, I just wonder if the punch resistance is going, though, these days. The way he was shaken up by the journeyman Brian Scott in Copenhagen on that Tyson bill, and on the floor here.
Yeah, well, that's true, Ian, but I mean, those combinations, I haven't seen such an impressive combination from a heavyweight for a long, long time, and just as impressive as Lennox Lewis. I can't see Lennox doing that any better.
Of course, Wladimir Klitschko here is trying to sell the idea to the world, I guess, of a fight between him and Lennox Lewis. If Lewis wants to fight on, of course, we don't know that yet. But that would be a good cross the generations meeting. It may be the only meaningful heavyweight fight out there. But Klitschko's still got to win this yet. Yeah, one has to say it does look rather promising for him.
Yeah, it does. And whether Lennox is thinking about that fight with Wladimir Klitschko, this could be making his mind up for him, because Klitschko is, you know, a 26-year-old young heavyweight with ambition and everything to gain, nothing to lose.
Big following, of course, in Germany. He's based in Hamburg, but of course they've got one or two other things on their mind this weekend over there.
Mercer always in with the punches chance, but he's wobbled again
by a right hand, and the gloves went down for a moment. This is all too much for him. He's hardly thrown a shot so far. He's trying to wave in Klitschko, but Mercer at the moment, all he's offering is a survival kit.
Yeah, and Klitschko, that left hook is fantastic, and he's so accurate these shots. He's a clever man. He won't be drawn in.
And you're not watching rope-a-dope here. I don't think there's any master plan from Mercer to come on strong later on.
No, and I think the only chance he's got is now is a lucky punch or something to discourage the champion. Just watch how clever Klitschko is, though. He looks for the openings. He feints with a couple of jabs. He throws the left hook. Left jab, left hook, right uppercut, right cross. Everything's going in here.
Just looks a bit looser and less robotic than he was earlier in his career too, as if he's mellowing into a more rounded heavyweight. Very strong and totally dominant here. Mercer trying to get his jab going.
He landed once or twice with the jab, and if he can start having some success, as I say, he needs to discourage Klitschko.
He's doing pretty well, Mercer, to still be in the fight late in round 2 here. Blocking quite a lot on the gloves, and he needs to as well. Oh, there's a right hand. It does get through, and occasionally those gloves go down, leaving the chin exposed.
Gamely fighting back, though, trying the jab. When you're up against a 6'6" man in front of you, and you know you've got 8 inches to make up, or 6 inches to make up, I should say, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of confidence to start jabbing back.
Klitschko again, and big. Welcome back to the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, which has the same name as the original, but similarities in there. As far as I'm aware, this one, the one in India, that is, isn't owned by Donald Trump and doesn't have slot machines.
Yeah, some tremendous action there at the end of the second. It's how long Mercer can continue taking these shots. But he's bravely coming back and pushing forward until he takes that jab, of course.
Wladimir Klitschko from Kiev in the Ukraine, but based in Hamburg, in the red trunks here, in case you needed the identification. The other identification is he's the one who's completely dominating the contest. Starting an 8-1 on favourite here. But these fights have to be won, and you have to say Klitschko is looking pretty good these days. He did a good job, I thought, with Franz Bowe to wore him down, stopped him in 8. And here he is with Mercer, another of the old soldiers of the division.
Yeah, and this will show how good he is, really, his thinking ability, whether he can wear down a plodder such as Mercer, and how effectively he can do it. Because that's the problem with big punchers sometimes. They just don't have the know-how to stop people. But I mean, he's so far He's picked his punches, and Mercer, I think the only chance he's gotten that he's banking on either landing the one punch or Klitschko wearing himself out as he's done in the past.
Now Mercer looks as if he's trying to figure out a way of how to get forward. The jab would be the key for him. He's got a good jab, but of course he's doing everything more slowly these days. He just has that slightly geriatric heavyweight look about him.
And the head goes back again. Good shots.
Shaken up again, Mercer. And that's happened to him in every round so far, on the floor in the first.
Now this is where Klitschko will start working the body, I think, or should start to work the body.
Two-punch combination he loves, the left jab followed by the straight right.
Well, he's a big man, he can throw those shots without getting into range of Mercer. And I would think Klitschko, being such an intelligent man, will have learned from his Seoul defeat and will save energy. He's got to conserve it at times. Such a massive man.
You remember too that Wladimir Klitschko holds a win, and it looks a good one now over Chris Bird, who's the IBF #1 contender. That is a very significant win. He did a real number on Bird, who beat his brother, of course.
Yeah, well, his brother dislocated the shoulder. At the time we thought was he just pulling out, but it was a genuine injury.
Now Mercer just can't get a foothold in this at all. Not at the moment, anyway. His reflexes have slowed, just as Tyson's had. Doesn't slip very many. Again, another jab. It's another Klitschko round, and it's embarrassingly one-sided, frankly, so far. Welcome back to Atlantic City. A bit of damage underneath the left eye of Klitschko, which I guess must have come from a Mercer jab. Fritz Sadunek doing the chatting in the corner, the main Universum trainer. That's the promotional organisation in Germany who look after Wladimir Klitschko. They've done a good job with him. Former Olympic champion, as is Ray Mercer, of course, in Lennox Lewis's year. Mercer was the heavyweight champion when Lennox won at super heavy in Seoul.
Yeah, that was at 14 stone 5 heavyweight with the amateurs, of course, and he was 27 when he won that title in '88. Klitschko was a 17, 18 stone fighter, and they aged 20 in '96. There's a big difference between those two.
Mercer's only lost 4 times, Nicky, and 3 of those were to Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield and Larry Holmes. A 42-year-old Larry Holmes, it has to be said.
It shows the quality. Unfortunately for him, his style suited Larry Holmes perfectly, even at the age of 42. Larry just laid on the ropes and used the jab and countered the plodding Mercer. Oh, it's a great left hook, and a clever left hook too. He's watching and looking for the openings. But it shows the power of these big heavyweights. Mercer, I mean, he's landed probably 2 punches in the whole fight, and yet he's blackened the eye of Klitschko.
Good right hand again, landing around the temple this time of Mercer. Is there anything you don't like about Wladimir Klitschko?
Not at the moment, I must say. He's in with an opponent that will make him look good, of course. Mercer's got the style to do so. Having said that, he probably land one on the chin the moment and put Klitschko on the floor. But at the moment, he's picking his punches. Is very, very powerful. Clever way of fighting. Good jab. Feints and disguises shots. That's a good shot.
Yeah, he was hurt by that, Mercer, and it registered too on the Richter scale because he dropped his gloves and shot a glance at somebody at ringside.
Yeah, that fools nobody. It may fool some of the amateurs in the crowd, but it doesn't fool a pro like Klitschko.
Can he finish it here now? Can he show that finisher's instinct that the top heavyweight punchers all have?
I'd love it if, like tennis, we could have something to measure the power of these punches, Ian, because I'd hate to feel the power of those straight rights going through from Klitschko. Tremendous shots.
Yeah, somebody might think of that one day. That's something for them to work at, isn't it? A gadget that can measure the power of the shots.
Well, Klitschko will be near the top of the limit, that's for sure. He'd be the Greg Ruzetsky of the boxing world, I think.
Well, 35 of his 38 wins have come by the stoppage route.
Yeah, he's big and he's powerful.
Mercer still trying to come forward, but in slow motion.
And of course it takes a lot out of you coming forward and taking these punches, and as durable as Mercer's proved over the past, there's no way he can keep doing this. And if Klitschko has learned from that Ross Purity fight and is able to conserve energy and gain strength, of course, as you get older and more experienced as a pro, then there should be within his capability to win this comfortably tonight.
Mercer able to pose very few questions in there at all thus far. He's lost every round. Interesting character, this Wladimir Klitschko. You know, he lists his favourite meal as pancakes with caviar. He watches the Discovery Channel and speaks 4 languages.
Yeah, well, we had pancakes with caviar, as you know, this morning at the hotel, and everybody has pancakes with caviar. I thought, I didn't think there's anything unusual about that.
It's the done thing, is it, among the boxing fraternity?
It is,
these days.
yeah.
There's that right hand which forced Mercer to drop his gloves. He was trying to say he wasn't hurt by it. He was.
Yeah, well, like I say, boxers know what's happening in the ring. You fool nobody.
Round 5. He's done well to get this far, Mercer, because he's taken some heavy shots and he's showed that well-known strength and resilience that he's always had as a fighter.
He's very fortunate, Ian, that he's one of those fighters that doesn't mark up or cut easily or swell, because I think Klitschko, if he'd have taken that much punishment, his eyes would be shut by now.
Nobody's ever stopped Mercer in his whole career, but there's always a first time, particularly when you're 41 years of age. Again, he just gives a little sign to Klitschko as he takes the shot, shook his head as if to say, no, not troubled.
Well, it would trouble me, that's for sure. But, you know, as you say, that's the only chance he's got, is that he knows Klitschko, just that once in his career, has become exhausted and worn himself out and left everything, well, left with nothing, I should say. That's his only chance, that he can come on late.
And just looking at this Wladimir Klitschko in his last couple of fights, he looks as ready to me as he's ever going to be to have a shot at Lewis.
I think so. And on this performance, I'd say he's got a good chance against Lewis. Lewis, of course, would be favourite, and Mercer is making him look good, but he'd certainly have a puncher's chance.
Oh, big right hand. Certainly would be a battle of the jabs, wouldn't it, between him and Lennox? And there it is again.
The one question would be, is he too slow for Lennox, and would Lennox come over the top of that jab with the right hand? I mean, he looks a bit open there, and that will be Lennox's big shot. But these are tremendous punches going in, but Mercer's taking them.
But he is basically here fighting against an old pro who's not really hitting back, not much anyway.
But one who made Lennox Lewis look bad at the time, and as you say, it was controversial, the 10-round decision, and Klitschko would take big heart from that.
Exceptionally one-sided. Mercer doesn't really look to have a notion of how to get into this. He's tried the jab, he's caught by a left hook again, has to cover up, tries to let his head clear, shakes his head once it is clear.
They were tremendous punches, and I've got to say, it is one-sided, but it's certainly not monotonous. That's the great thing about heavyweight boxing. The power of these punches makes it exciting, because it's anything can happen at any time.
There's some eye damage, I think, for Mercer as well, developing. It looked one-sided on paper at this stage, and I do put in italics, at this stage of Mercer's career. And that's exactly how it's turning out in the ring. He's still there, though. Yeah, there's that right eye, was busted open by, I think, by one of those right hands.
No, it was that left hook, I think, Ian.
Was it the left hook?
Yeah, it was perfectly disguised. He just started to move the left jab and then turned it into a left hook, and that's a brilliant punch. And there's very few big heavyweights can do that. Tremendous punch.
Mercer from Pleasantville, New Jersey these days, the former Army sergeant who turned pro late after his Olympic gold medal. It's been a long old song. Merciless Ray, maybe it would be merciful,
well,
if they started to think about pulling him out of this, because there just doesn't look any way here, does there?
No way at all. And I did say he was very lucky he didn't cut and mark up, but after taking those punches, nobody could stay unmarked, surely. And I think Klitschko now is going to start using that left hook a lot more, landing it on the right eye. And that cut's going to worsen. And I think unless he gets a little bit of success during this round, his corner will think about pulling him out, and so will perhaps the referee.
There's Randy Newman, who actually fought Britain's Billy Eyre back in 1975. There's a right hand from Mercer. Now that's as good a shot as he's landed in the whole fight. And there haven't been many.
You watch the way Klitschko disguises the left hook. He'll start the left jab and then come around with the left hook, or just move it a couple of inches, then turn it into a left hook.
He's pretty well schooled, isn't he?
He's very well schooled. And he's, as you said earlier, he's a very, very intelligent man, intelligent family. And what he's taught, he'll learn quickly.
There's another absolutely booming right through the middle, which Mercer ate up. But he's stepping up the tempo here, Klitschko, and looking for the stoppage. And Randy Newman will start to take a much closer interest. There's no way that Mercer will want to throw in the towel or his corner. But there comes a point. Another huge right. He's just teeing off on him now.
Yeah, I mean, Randy Newman's got to look at stepping in here.
And he has done in the 6th round, all over. Perfectly timed, really, by Randy Newman, just at the point that Nicky and I were saying that it was all getting too much. He does step in, and that's a very good win. The first time Ray Mercer's ever been stopped, and the man who's done it is Wladimir Klitschko, the former Olympic champion, who looks in line now, to me, to fight Lennox Lewis, if Lewis wants the fight and wants to carry on in boxing.
If he wants it, that's the question. I have to say, a tremendously impressive performance. Really, really great display by Klitschko, and there we see it.
But was he beating an old man?
Well, he was definitely beating an old man, but I think he's beating him in a fashion that very, very few heavyweights could do in the world at the moment. And his defence is perhaps questionable, whether he throw to Lennox Lewis, but great display.
Yeah, he couldn't have done it any better, but I do feel he was beating a shot, washed up Ray Mercer, frankly.
Well, perhaps so. I wouldn't say washed up. I think Mercer had come in at 16-4. He was very, very much up for the fight. Determined. He boxed the same way as we expected. He was just taken apart by a very, very clinically punches that were clinical, and a boxer who was well schooled and up for it.
Promoters will be well pleased. This was always designed as a showcase for Wladimir Klitschko in the USA. His English is improving, and from that perspective, mission accomplished.
Yes, definitely accomplished, and now they're going to be talking about the Lewis fight. I'm a little bit surprised at how much he's marked up himself, Klitschko. He took maybe 2 or 3 punches during the whole fight. He's got a little blood blister on the right eye, bruising under the left eye. But look at this for impressive punches. I mean, it's tremendous work. Everything's so accurate and so mixed up and so varied.
Well, we saw one name heavyweight in Mike Tyson taken to the cleaners by Lennox Lewis the other week. We've seen another one here. I think really Mercer has got to call it a day after this, because he was beaten up badly there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, a lot of these American heavyweights, and well, heavyweights the whole world over, are fighting just for the money and need the money, and there's big paydays out there for them, and so they continue to go on. But this was absolutely tremendous boxing.
I have to say too, it's a good result for professional boxing. We need new young stars, guys in their 20s coming through, and this is the leader of that generation, Wladimir Klitschko. You're going to hear a lot more of him. Will he fight Lennox Lewis? We wait and see. It'll be interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 8 seconds of the 6th round. The winner by technical knockout, and still WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Wladimir Klitschko.
Well, he really did a number on poor old Ray Mercer there, who was an old soldier in every sense of the phrase. What do you think, Nicky? Final thoughts?
I agree with you. Definitely that it's good for heavyweight boxing. I think it's fine that we've got a good young boxer coming through. His brother's good, and it's good for the future.
Klitschko wins, and impressively.
I enjoyed the fight very much. It was very interesting fighting against high-quality fighter. We don't want looking how old he is, but his shape is very good.
You knocked him down in the first round. Did you think that you would finish him then?
So I was just waiting. If he will come up, I will fight longer.
You say you feel your eye, that you took some jabs in the eye?
I took some left jabs, but this was good for me to learn to see how the guy's working. I think I can prove my talent with the fight against Lewis, Holyfield or Tyson. But Lennox Lewis right now is the top one. That's why I wish the first Lewis.
All right, you've said you want to fight Lewis sooner than later. Do you think this performance will convince everyone, including your own promoter, that you should try to fight Lewis next?
From my side, I am ready for fight. And from side promoter, you know how it is all the time going. So I'm ready.
I think he has a great chance to beat Lennox Lewis. I think he represented the WBO well. He's a big and strong guy. You know, we tried to work on pushing him back. I guess you know, that didn't work. I didn't work my jab like I was supposed to. My corner was telling me to work my jab, but I think he was going to get tired throwing all those punches, and I was wrong this time.